What it is, what it do, cyber world. It is your girl, the one, the only. Ash said it. AshSaidIt.com, AshSaidIt.com. Welcome to the Ash Said It Daily Podcast Show. I appreciate you guys for all of your love and support. Over 1,700 episodes and 500,000 streams worldwide. None of this would be possible without you guys, so I thank you so very, very much. And I hope that you guys have been, staying safe. I know that we've got some thunderstorms that have been just spreading in and through all everywhere, all across our country. But I hope that you guys are being safe and everything is good for you. Today, I have a very accomplished man who has a book out, you guys, that is definitely shaking things up. And it's certainly making people think in different angles and different ways. So today, let's welcome to the show, Mr. Gary Revel. Hello, Gary.
Hello there. How are you?
I am great. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic.
Awesome. All right, Gary. So to start things off, your book is titled To Live or Maybe Not. Where did your fascination with MLK, where did that start?
Well, I was interested in Martin Luther King Jr. even when I was a teenager. In the 60s, because I heard a lot about what he was doing, and then of course after he was killed, I was always aware that there was just something wrong with that whole thing. Mm-hmm. But it was only until 1977 when the House Assassinations Committee, the House Select Committee on Assassinations, was formed in Washington, D.C., and they set out to investigate the King assassination. It was at that time when my attorney and my friend Jack Kershaw asked me to investigate the case with him.
So how did that process start with you investigating the case?
Well, I was living in Nashville, Tennessee, and one of my associates and partners was Jack Kershaw, who was an attorney. He became the attorney for James Earl Ray.
Oh, wow.
And I had done some investigative work for him. Mm-hmm. And got some experience doing that while I was in the United States Navy.
Gotcha.
In the Vietnam War. But once he became his James Earl Ray's attorney, he asked me one day in the office. He asked me to investigate this assassination for me. And at first, I didn't just jump to it.
Right.
It seemed like a heavy burden to carry. So I had to pray. Yeah. So what we were doing, we were having a revival, a citywide revival there in Nashville, and you'd go to one church one night, and then another church the next night, another church the next night, like that. And one night, I was still deciding. I still just wasn't really ready to jump full into the investigating the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. And I was at a black church and worshiping God. And when it was over, the pastor came to me and said, Brother Gary, he knew me. I'd been there before. Mm-hmm. I said, yeah. He said, God's got something for me to tell you. And I said, okay. Okay, what is it? He said, God says to tell you to get out of the shallow water. No, I remember now. He said, quit playing around in the shallow water and get on out there where it's deep. Okay. See, only God and me would know what he was talking about. Right?
Yeah.
So I said, okay, yeah. I said, okay. Well, God, I hear you and I understand. And that was the night that I said, okay, God, I see you want me to do this. Mm-hmm. So I went back, and then within a week or so, I was at Brushy Mountain Prison meeting with James Earl Ray for the first time.
Wow. So talk a little bit about what really compelled you to write this book now.
Well, actually, this is a work of, it's a therapeutic work. It started actually in 2006 when well, to take you back, when I did the investigation, the assassination of King in '77,
right.
I was told by the chief counsel Richard Sprague, and then followed up two or three times. Once he was fired, then I would meet with we would meet with the deputy chief counsel and his team. There were several attorneys and investigators that would come at different times, and always at least 3 or 4 more besides Sprague or Lehner. Robert Lehner was in the room. But they had assured me that my name would never be published or be made public because I was investigating undercover. As far as anyone knew, I was just a friend of Jack Kershaw's, because you can't investigate those kind of things if someone knows you're investigating, you know. So what happened was at the first meeting with Richard Sprague, that he was fired a week later, that he told me, okay, you'll be working, covertly, basically undercover, and your name will never be known. And then in 2006, I found this book published by the government, published by the House of Representatives, the investigation of the assassination of Martin Luther King, and it names me as a special investigator on the project. So at that time, I realized, well, no wonder, all these years I get these threatening phone calls and stuff. I didn't even know my name was out there. As far as anybody knew, I was just a friend and a songwriter, a friend of Jack Kershaw and a songwriter who happened to meet James Earl Ray,
Wow.
But that's when I said, okay, since it's out there anyway, I'm going to start writing a book. So I just started. It's just a memoir. It's just stuff I wrote as I went along, and I finally got it to the point now that I believe it's ready for people to read on a much broader scale than I had been. I hadn't really been pushing for people to read it. And it's got 3 chapters in it which deal somewhat about the investigation of the assassination of King. But the movie is where people will really be able to understand the whole thing once the movie's made.
Yes, and talk a little bit about that. So, you put this memoir together, you put it out there for the world, and then a movie deal comes out of it?
Well, yeah, as a matter of fact, the first person that wanted to make a movie about my story was Ted Turner, and it was I was in Los Angeles, and I met with William Sachs, who's a fairly well-known producer. He's mostly well-known for a movie he produced called Leprechaun, but he's made a lot of movies since then also. But he's the first one who asked me to work with him to get this movie made, and then Ted Turner had heard about it, so we met with his company, Turner Broadcasting, and they bought the first option. As a matter of fact, they paid for the first screenplay, and they paid for me to reinvestigate the whole thing. I traveled back to Nashville, Florida, New Orleans, and all to do a just a review basically of my investigation.
Right.
That's how the movie thing started. Of course, he only had a year. They only had a year to put it together, and they couldn't do it in that time, so I got the rights back. So since then, I've had probably at least 20 different producers that I've worked with at different times trying to get this movie made. But I think we're finally good now, because Jeff Ohm is associate. He's going to produce and direct it, and he has helped make over many great movies. He helped make the Titanic and the Avengers series of movies that are all huge box office successes, and he's on the team now. So I think we're getting closer to getting it made.
Okay, cool. So I'm assuming that you're going to be very hands-on with the movie. Like, you're going to be on set, you're going to be helping with casting, all that good stuff.
Well, I won't help with the casting really. I mean, we're talking. We need some A-list actors in this project, and I'm helping a little bit, but we'll eventually have a casting director who will do most of the casting.
Gotcha.
But we're reaching out to Matthew McConaughey even this week and last week to play Jack Kershaw, and we're looking for someone really a great actor to play James Earl Ray also.
Yes, that's going to be amazing. Amazing, amazing. So I know that you've got a lot on your plate now, Gary, with the book release, and then and shout out for the music. All right, so I know you put out the song "They Slew the Dreamer." That has been absolutely just circulating everywhere. I love the track.
Oh yeah.
Definitely love the song. But what else are you up to? I know that there's a lot of stuff going on in your camp.
Well, I'm a book publisher now. I've got over 40 books published. Some of the most interesting books I've published is one called Be Scared, and it's about the bees and how beehives and bees are disappearing by the thousands. And the Be Scared is not that the bee is scared, it's that we should all be scared about these bees disappearing, because once the bees go, most of our vegetables and fruits will go.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So that's one of the interesting books I've published. I published one called Washington Coup by Robert Burnside, and that's an in-depth look into government and politics, and touches on the coup of January 6th in Washington. So it's got a lot of interesting books I'm publishing.
Okay, cool. And last but certainly not least, where is the book available, Gary?
Well, my book, To Live or Maybe Not, really you should be able to get it anyway. Even most bookstores can get it. If they don't have it in, they have it on their list of books that they can get in. It's selling in foreign countries and everywhere. And don't think, don't try to because it's just my memoir. It's just me writing. So I'm not a so-called professional writer. So it's just my writing of things that happened to me as I grew up and then got into Hollywood, California, and New York, and stuff that happened in the Navy, and then of course the investigation of assassination of Martin Luther King. Of course, that took me to the JFK assassination and the RFK assassination.
Yes. Now I want to talk a little bit about that as well. Now, how did those assassinations? Were there key points in each investigation that were leading to the others?
Well, yeah. When I what I learned investigating Martin's killing was that James Earl Ray had been sprung from prison in Jefferson, in Missouri. I think it was Springfield or Jefferson City, one of those. Anyway, he had been sprung out of prison and helped to get to Canada within a few months. And in Canada, at the Neptune bar there, he met two men. He met Lucian Sardi, and that's Lucinsarti, who ran the mafia. He was the godfather of the Canadian mafia, and he met E. Howard Hunt. And E. Howard Hunt was a CIA agent who kind of doubled. He put together assassination teams and stuff like that, and he ran things in foreign countries as well that did, really covert stuff that the government would say, no, we had nothing to do with it, because you hire people to do it. That if they did get caught, they wouldn't be working for the government. So, and then E. Howard Hunt kind of mentored and managed James Earl Ray and set him up to take the fall for the killing of Martin Luther King Jr.
Wow, that's some deep stuff. You guys heard it here first. Gary Revel, thank you so much for joining us today. We certainly appreciate you. And you guys go check out that book. It's all across. I'm sure if you search any of the major retailers, To Live or Maybe Not, go check it out. And I appreciate you guys for all of your love and support. Keeping in mind, anyone to tell you that you can't do what you want to do. You look them square in the face. You tell them, don't believe me. Just watch. Watch what I do. Yeah. Watch me make it happen. Watch me make history. That's what we're doing this for, the history books. Social media is nice, but real life is so much better. Until next time, you guys.